y'all, it's Betsy, and today is Friday, so we're gonna do another palette ranking video. I'm still working on the ColourPop palettes because Lord knows I have so many of those, but today we're going to go over one of my favorite brands, which is Melt. Now, if you're not familiar with Melt, they are an independently owned brand. They started stocking in Sephora not this past year, but in 2018, like around November of 2018. And they were put on my radar through YouTube, and I just love the whole aesthetic of their brand. I love their highlighters. I have like 3 of their highlighters, 1 of their blushes, a few of their liquid lipsticks, some lip liners, an eyeliner, and then I have 5 palettes, which they have 8 out now. So I have 5 out of the 8. Now they do have stacks of eyeshadows, but I could never bring myself to spend 60 bucks on 5 eyeshadows. So I waited until they started doing palettes, which their first palette they released was the 27 palette. I did not purchase that one because I had all those colors because it was just a very warm tone. It was a beautiful palette, but I didn't purchase that one. The first one I actually purchased from the brand was the Gemini palette. But since then, I have fallen in love with their eyeshadow formula. It's what I'm wearing on my eyes. It just makes my 90s grunge era Nirvana heart smile. I mean, it just makes me so happy. I love their color stories and just the branding that they do. So this is definitely one of my favorites. And this was a hard list to put together because I love all of their eyeshadow palettes that I own. But I had to think about maybe what other people would like and versatility of the palettes. Now, in my 5th position would be the Smoke Session palette, which the outside of the packaging looks like this. It is a pot theme palette, and the inside looks like this. It is stunning. The only reason I put this in 5th place because I do love these 2 grungy greens. There's Super Diesel and Space Queen, and this is a great companion palette to go with the Gemini palette, is because out of the 8 shades there are only 2 mattes, and you know, for a lot of people that's not going to work. This would just be a companion palette, but their shimmer formula is stunning. This shade Blue Dream is just gorgeous. It's just that perfect icy mint blue. And then the shade Gravity OG is just a beautiful true yellow ochre gold. Look at that, all that reflectiveness. So that is in the 5th place. Now in 4th place is the Vida palette. Now there are 2 in the Vida and Muerte. So if you put the palettes together, they look like this. And it means life and death in Spanish. And look at that artwork. Isn't that stunning? And the reason why the Vida is in 4th place, it is still a stunning palette, but I feel like it is a little bit more basic than some of the others. You know, there's a lot of neutrals in here, a lot of oranges, not a whole lot of green. The red Mexicana is just a beautiful, true pigmented red. That's 1 swipe and barely 1 dip in. And I mean, and I'm sitting a good distance from the camera and you can see how nice and bright that is. And I mean, it stains your fingers, but it is stunning. But it is my least favorite out of that set, and it's just because I have brown eyeshadows in a lot of other palettes, but the quality of it is top notch. Now in 3rd place is my Melt Impulsive palette. Now this was a Sephora exclusive. I'm not sure if they sell it on their website. You open her up and she looks like this. There are 18 shades. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I have the color 2012 as my transition shade. I deepened it up with the shade Boss Lady. I used the shade CEO, this brown shimmer all over the lid, and then I used the shade Poppin' Bottles as my inner corner highlight. And this shade Poppin' Bottles, now you've seen a lot of brown, red duochromes. But this is like peachy, and then it has a little bit of lime green in it. The shift on it is just stunning, and the camera doesn't pick it up. And the reason why this is in third place and not higher is I wish that there were a few more mattes that went in with these blues. But this shade Drunk Text, oh, another one that's just this really true grungy. Look at that. Just stunning. I mean, I can't get over how pretty these are. So that is in third place. Now, here was the kicker. These two were very hard to decide from. My Gemini and my Muerte palette. But I went ahead and put the Muerte palette in second place. The color story on it is extremely unique. And you could mix these palettes together. Like the blues that I was talking about were missing from the Impulsive. They have in here. But this shade Duelo, or Dulo, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, is like this super deep teal. It's stunning. That would work great with the smoke session. The shade Corazon is just a little bit deeper. I'm going to put it next to a little bit more cardinally red than the Mexicana shade. And the Sage Sangria, or Sangria, love that plum. Look at that. I mean, that's just barely swatching them. They're just so pigmented and beautiful, and the artwork is amazing. Now here is time for number one, and if you've watched me a lot, you might know that this is one of my favorites. This is a palette that I actually use quite a lot on the regular, and that is the Gemini palette. I love this section of 5 shadows that are more of the grungy mustardy browns, like they're the baby poop color, but they're so flattering, but they make such a cool eye look. And then the greens over here, the shade Leo, I mean, look at that army green. It just doesn't get any better than that. And the shade Goals is about as true an army green shimmer as you can get, but they're all phenomenal. And if you haven't had a chance to play with Melt, I definitely would recommend it. It is a little bit more on the expensive side because like each of the Gemini I think was 58, Muerte and Vida are 58. The Impulsive palette was 65. So they are a little bit on the more expensive side, but if you want highly pigmented eyeshadows that perform and you're into that grunge aesthetic, because I mean, yes, you can create a pretty basic look if you wanted to with this, but if you're buying these palettes, you're probably my soul sister whenever it comes to that grungy makeup look. Like the eye look that I have on today is just screams what I would have worn as a kid, because it's kind of messy, kind of undone, not perfect, but I like it. It has that sexy, sultry kind of look. Like you're going to a bar to watch an alternative band like Nirvana back in the early 90s, and it just makes me happy. And I love stuff like this. So Melt is definitely a brand I would recommend. The newest palette that they have, the Modern Love I think is what it's called, I really like the color scheme, but I just bought the Natasha Denona palette that has the same kind of colors, so I really don't need that one. But if I swatch it in person and fall in love, I might just pick it up. And the only other palette other than the 27, the Modern Love, is the, what is the neon one called? There's a neon palette, which again, I had, when that came out, I had already bought ColourPop neon shadows, and I also had the Huda Beauty neon shadows, and I didn't need any more neon shadows or I would have picked it up. But if you haven't had a chance to play with it, if you have a full Sephora location near you, I definitely recommend going in and swatching them because they are gorgeous, and it is a recommend from me. I mean, all these palettes I love, and I will not get rid of any of them. I know some people have complained about the Impulsive palette. Some of the shimmers were hard pan for them. I haven't had an issue with it, but you know, sometimes they can be pressed differently, but I love them all. So hopefully you like this video. If you do, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down below. I post new makeup videos typically on Monday and Wednesdays unless we're planning any travel. And then on Wednesdays is all about keto and CrossFit. So I guess that's it. So we shall see y'all on Monday. Bye.